I'm doing the intro. Hi, I'm Rand. Been around here a while. I play games a lot around here. Obduction has been, how many years has it been since we released Obduction?
2016. It's been six
Wow.
years.
6 years. Eric
Hi, I'm Eric.
Anderson is with me, my compatriot in playing this crazy thing. And we're going to try and remember lots of like the amazing secrets beyond Obduction.
So many secrets. I've been told I'm driving. I don't know how I
Eric's
feel about
driving because,
that. All right.
you know,
You want to do a new game and we'll jump around after that?
I really want to do a new game.
Okay.
You know, I watch playthroughs of Obduction, and I have since we released it.
Oh yeah, they're
the
fun
streams,
to watch. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, if they only knew. And now's our chance.
Uh-oh. Are we gonna reveal some secrets?
Maybe.
All right. New game.
Tell about this place. This is one of the first places you built.
The forest?
Yeah, the forest. I mean,
you're gonna make me talk about it?
We did this like before we knew almost anything.
This was done like we were still learning the engine. We were like, what's this Unreal thing all about? This was one of the first areas we built like way back when we first started touching this game. Oh, we got the VO coming in.
And this VO, okay, in addition to this place, this space, wanting to feel it very Earth-like, we have a long VO here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And what we did is chopped it into chunks. I did this giant spreadsheet of, okay, these are the important voiceovers at the beginning. And as you pass through a region, if you stay in that region, it'll get to some of the secondary ones. But if you blow through this whole thing, it just gives you the main points. And I don't know that anybody's ever said anything about that. It's kind of cool. You could just
I love this intro.
through.
Like at first I wasn't sure. It's not what Cyan games normally do at the beginning.
No.
Especially with the disembodied VO and the whole like I remember when this version of it went in, it didn't take long for me to be like, "Oh, yeah, this is working. This is really."
And we start you on Earth.
Yeah.
That's so different from us.
That was very important to me. I wanted the terrestrial like familiar feeling, and then have it get weird.
Well, what's interesting too is that you start back up at the beginning of the trail and you're not sure, and as you walk forward, wait, is that a picnic table? You know, you get to see the little signs. Is that the moon?
And I can remember we had conversations very early on where there was discussion of like, are we going to try to tell the player how they got here? Like, are we going to have like an ATV rolled over like they went off the trail? I remember these discussions. We were like, let's not do that. Let's just put them in the woods and they can make up their own story about how they got here. But then you come up here and you got, it's a picnic table and
little national forest signs. And then I think what was interesting to me is how everything was triggered on this whole beginning place. Like these regions, you walk through the regions, it triggers both the VO and it triggers the
visual effects.
The visual effects, the thunder, the lightning, but also the seed.
Yeah, and that was tricky too because we had to think about like, okay, what is the I didn't comment on it when we were coming down the path, but you saw the seed drop out of the sky and go behind the mountain there.
Right.
And that was framed very intentionally. Yeah. And then we were trying to figure out ways to have the same, like, because your attention's focused on that campfire.
Yeah.
And so as we come through here, we hit another region. And the trick here was
we know you're going to turn to the right.
Yep, come around this corner, and that is exactly when we have the seed come around from the mountain. And it took a lot of kind of testing to get this right.
Oh, yeah. These are by the way, these little gems of attention to detail are what I love. This is when I watch people play and I go, yeah, you didn't know that we made the path turn to the right there, so you'd be facing that effect when it happened. And that's just, oh man, do I love that stuff.
There's sometimes where I'll be watching a playthrough and somebody will miss one of the beats, and I'll be like, oh man, what could we have done?
Right.
But
we did all that work, you missed that beat.
Most people get it. Same thing here, we're coming up this path, and I believe it's as we're coming up this uphill slope, the wind starts to pick up.
Yeah.
And then I believe we framed the seed. Here it is.
So, okay, this is a good time to mention that different players play these games differently.
Yeah.
People who've been with us from the beginning, like Myst players, they're taking their time. They're looking at every little nook and cranny. Oh, look at this. I can look over the cliff. What's out there?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I'll find something. And so the longer voiceover, they get that. And it's not imperative information, but they're getting it. And we're giving them little things to fill the space.
Then you get a shooter player in here.
Oh, man, they blow through. And at some point here, they get to the end, which we're close to.
Yep. I'm going to go ahead and just hit it.
And everything kind of, boom,
Yep.
you don't have control anymore. You're locked there. And if you're listening to the voiceover, there was no turning away. It
Yeah.
advanced. We kind of allude to the fact that you're locked there.
But I've seen a lot of people, and this is something I think if we did it all over again, we'd probably want to revisit. But like, oh, something's broken. My controllers,
right.
my batteries.
Yeah, yeah. The timing.
Oh, here we go. Here's my favorite. My favorite effect.
Yes. I remember when Jason was messing with some of that with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys were just.
Yeah, we came up with the particle effect really, really early, and we were still just learning. I love the intro.
Yeah.
We were still just learning Unreal at the time, and the particle effect came together really quick as just a conceptual idea that I had about what if we, mapped color, and then we worked through the problem and implemented it, and. Yeah. Honestly, what's in the game was implemented our very first couple of days we came up with it. Now
it was really satisfying.
Yeah, now I think we could do it more efficiently and stuff with the new tools. But back at the time, I'm still like amazed that we got it to work.
Okay, I have to say, gameplay wise, now that's my focus. Okay, so in that path, we led you down a very linear path. We fill in some really obscure voiceover of somebody talking about how you came here and it saved you.
That was a great VO, by the way.
That was
a really good VO.
Here at Cyan, we don't go too far.
Oh, okay.
I want to talk about this.
Okay.
But we have been known by actually replacing voices with new voices as we went. Just getting the right tone in there sometimes, because just because you get the performance doesn't mean, or just because you get the right actor doesn't mean you get the right voice, and vice versa. So we mix it up, and that whole voiceover at the beginning was one of those instances with. It
was very successful.
Caroline, we kind of had to redo that. Okay, wait, turn around. This blows my mind, and when people go too fast here, no. This is a sphere.
Yeah.
This is a chunk.
I'm amazed at how many people don't notice.
I know.
I know. I picked and prodded at this scene forever because it was like, okay, we have to make sure it feels like, the player can perceive this perfectly spherical thing, and how the trees get cut and the table gets cut.
The table cut perfectly, everything, the rocks.
We drop people in here and they see that exit and they're like, let me get out of here.
And even, if you
go back.
follow the cleft in the rock where it goes back on the other side, it actually follows through, back to this. It's like, that's the natural beginning, but this chunk of earth just came here.
I actually modeled the inside of this cave and then took a sphere chop out of it. Sweet. So because I wanted to have that continuation of the crevasse or whatever.
When you go to the edge and look at the curve, but to the boundary between the red rocks and the earth stuff, and you see kind of that perfect sphere cut. Oh man, I love that. I love that.
And all the trees are just lopped off.
And if people don't do that, I hate them. When they just blow through here. Okay, again, here's a playthrough item. There's only one way. As we've made these games, we've realized if you open up the world completely in some kind of crazy
open world,
anywhere you want at the very beginning, it's a little disconcerting. I mean, it is for me. I want somebody to hold my hand to make sure. Oh, I think I'm on the right track. I think I'm feeling this correctly.
You want to tutorialize it just a little bit. And
exactly.
Yeah.
But by the same time, by the same token, eventually we don't want to keep leading you linearly. We want it to open up. Our worlds typically then go non-linear. And so this is all part of the very early stuff. Now, wait, here's something that people miss too. If you, walking down this path, if you look up, you may have already triggered it, but Okay, first of all, in VR, looking up like this and going
yeah.
down this path is amazing because you get a sense of where you're at. But also walking down this path may have triggered it. Keep going. One of those bugs flies off.
In the very beginning?
Yeah, in this cliff area.
Huh.
Anyway,
This
we may have
is
already
where,
triggered it.
like, watching people play through the game.
Yeah.
This is one of those. There's a handful of beats where you're like, oh, I gotta fast forward until they get to this part.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to watch a 6-hour live stream or whatever. But where those golden moments.
Yes.
One of them is when they come out. I love watching people play the intro.
Yep.
And they react to the scene we just came out of.
Yep.
Coming out of this canyon.
Oh.
When they start to go like, wait a minute.
Yeah. The reveal is just oozing with perfection because you're coming around a little corner.
That's a little bold.
No,
Oozing
it is.
perfection.
It's been 6 years.
Man.
We can say that. Good job, Eric. I can say that about your work.
Can I talk about all the stuff I want to redo?
The reveal is so well done and by the way, reveals are so important in our games in particular because it's some of the reward. But this one is this. By the way, the reveal here is almost lockstep with the gameplay progression because what I said about the path and leading you down the path and being very narrow, you're starting, going out this canyon. Well, look at the canyon walls. They're going out too. At the same time, your options are going out. Now, just before it gets overwhelming, we kind of give you your first little quest here. What is this thing? And look, yeah.
I've seen people be like, "Oh no, what? Oh, they're scared of it. They don't want to push the
danger."
Yep.
And you can't quite see enough in the distance, so it's weird, but you're not sure what. And then you see this weird device, which is even more weird when you click on it.
We don't have.
Yeah. By the way, that little tone that comes up at the beginning, like.
Yeah.
I made that sound. I don't even know how I made it, but I made all these weird little trumpet tones. Like, the idea is that this guy especially, but his goal was to make this feel more important than it was.
Yeah.
This we can do this.
He's like the guy. If he had a podcast these days, he'd go overboard on like the sound effects and the intro music and stuff.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then the podcast would suck because he'd have all kinds of crazy effects. But
let's talk about for people who may not be familiar with this or might be seeing it for the first time.
Yeah.
That was not a typical 3D character like you see in games these days.
Oh, that's right.
Why?
That's right.
Why?
There's a little throwback here, and we toyed with lots of ideas for this, but then at the end we decided, now let's use the fact that we've got some legacy with the Myst games and doing live action characters, and let's take it up a step.
How we do that in VR?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
this project was started as like a VR first sort of thing. Yeah.
We were making a game for VR before there were any consumer VR headsets. There weren't any when we started this. None. You could not buy one. You could buy the dev.
It was just the dev sets. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, turn around to that device because there's more stuff here.
Which device?
The Mayor device.
Oh, we'll find another one over
there. Oh, yeah, okay, good. Yeah, you're right. Okay, here's more. By the way,
shout out to the art team, by the way, who did an amazing job on this.
This art blows my mind. And by the way, players start to just get so confused here. We've given a little goal, by the way, as well. We've given them a psychological goal. Go see Farley at the house with the white picket fence. Everything's going to be fine. And notice after we give you that verbal goal, the world opens up. You don't have to do that, but you have that in your back pocket. You always have the security as a player of knowing.
And we went out of our way to make sure it was obvious. Like, there's a house.
As soon as you walk forward, you see it. So that was really important. And all of this stuff, Eric, the art here, the background, alien worlds, floating craziness with the Southwest Arizona desert right there. It's just so good. I love this area.
I still love wandering through here.
Yeah.
Still love it.
Yeah.
Love this.
Yeah.
Reinforcing the sphere and how it can break down over time.
This is the second reinforcement of the sphere, if you look at those edges. And I'm surprised how many people also maybe don't. If you don't see the first one, you may not get this one right away either. The edges are perfectly round, and this is a chunk of somewhere middle America, wherever it is.
Here's another recording.
Yeah.
Here.
This is the Princess Leia. Reaches down and turns it on and off.
Yeah. So, because it was video, there were a few things that we had to solve, right?
Yeah.
You can't, especially in VR, give the player the ability to orbit around a character because that's not how video works, not 2D video. So we had to come up with creative ways to try to put that in the game in a way that worked. Obviously, these hologram imagers, we're rotating the projection to face the player, and we've got more characters later in the game that we figured out other ways to try to prevent the player from getting to the side of them.
Yeah,
which was
challenging. It all was part of the design. I think that's why it worked, because we knew what our limitations and constraints would be for the VR and 3D aspect, and we kind of just designed that in. By the way, if you look at that imager, I mean, there's a lot of details in that bottom of that imager that people should question. Like, everything in here is so much detail. There's so much built in, but there's like a car battery, a car tire,
a VCR player,
a speaker, a VCR player, exactly, just kind of kludged together with this weird alien technology that is always in red. Subtle hint. Okay, I love this. This is like somebody has an old, what we used to call mimeograph machine or something, you know, like.
Yep.
And they didn't exactly word it well. They're like, warning, do not approach anything that even remotely resembles this.
And you just walked past a thing that remotely resembles that. You're like, wait a minute, what?
Right.
Yeah.
And wait, that door, I'll bet it's open. Oh, no, that's right.
Clank, clank, clank.
It's a Cyan game.
Can we break in through the window? No.
Nope. Wait, another door. Nope. You think we're not going to use that as a key? Need a key. That mailbox, see the address on it, which plays a role? That is my grandmother's address.
Nice.
That's the number of her address in Philly.
Philly, nice.
Yeah.
She live in a house with a white picket fence this?
She did, actually. The white picket fence, I think, rotted years ago, but yes, it was.
Got her little note.
Which also has little clues in it. By the way, okay, stop right there and look. Okay, that was also very purposeful. Now, the world's starting to branch open. You got any place you want to go now. We don't have a second quest for you. You went and saw Farley, and she said, ooh, stuff's happening here, and I don't know what's going wrong, and CW maybe, and you're like, what? But off in the distance, something's
calling your eye.
Now, do you have to go there? No, you could turn around and go up to the graveyard or whatever, but, you know.
Yeah, I love how you're making it sound like it's this expansive open world.
Yeah.
It's like,
you can go anywhere. Look at it. Here's another, there's a cool first kind of experience on this one, too, when you walk up here and trigger the little bug.
Does he come flying out of that?
Did we already do it?
Maybe I already did it.
Yeah,
I probably wasn't. We have a couple others.
Yeah, we got those everywhere. Okay, so turn to the right. Lots of color clues here. Oh, yeah, the red. It's on those imaging machines. That little beam is red. If you turn to the left and look at the rocks in there, go a little closer to those rocks.
These guys,
Ooh, that's weird. They got a little red shimmer on them.
Yeah.
Nice effect, Eric.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I like that.
I think that was like a half an hour. Oh crap, we have to get an effect in there. Actually, I poke fun at it, but I'm actually really happy with how the Saurian effect stuff ended up working.
Oh, heck yeah.
People got it.
It all connects in just great ways.
We use color identity a lot in Obduction to sort of signify the differences between the different ages. We still call them ages, by the way.
Yeah.
I've heard people say like, "Oh, that confirms that this takes place in the Dunny Myst universe."
Yeah, that and the fact that the mayor says "Shura."
Shura, yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's all connected.
But no, as developers, we can't shake the habit of calling everything an age.
Deeply embedded.
It's wired. Let's talk about Hunrath a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, this is where we go crazy as a company, and we're proud of it. But Hunrath has got this deep, rich history to it. and Hartnell is part of it, and all these little pieces are part of it. And Rawa and I go crazy and design all the stories behind all of this. And a lot of them are based on real stories in history. In fact, the Hunrath is itself, the name is based on a person.
Yep.
And the city here is based on a real city in Arizona. And there's, you Google these, you'll find the stories behind them. And I love that stuff. Keeps us consistent. I
think we were worried about like the legal implications of that at one point, because you're like, oh, if there's a real family, the Hartnells or whatever,
right.
But
we discovered you can do fun things. I love this one. I think this is the message machine that says, oh no, this is the tree. Yeah. It's the other one that the mayor says, by now you've seen we have a thriving community here. It's like, no, everything you seem to be saying, I don't see.
I love those.
All right, here we go. So much to talk about that we don't want to fill in all the details, but it's just loaded with goodness here, and everything has a purpose and a meaning, and it's there. We don't do filler. A lot of open world games, you have to have a lot of filler. Almost everything in here is part of the narrative or the gameplay or. I'm trying to think of, like, as you're saying that, I'm like, didn't we fill the game with backer rewards that are filler? Those aren't filler. There's a reason for those.
There's a reason for them.
There's a reason for those.
People are like, wait, how does this tie into the game? It's like, well...
Yeah. Even this. Okay, the fact that there's grading there that you can see through, that was important.
There's a machine down there that's connected to this, clearly.
That's right.
Yep.
And the fact that you can see inside and see the tree, that's a nice tease. We've got,
I think let's go over and look at the other end of town here, because I think there's a early puzzle we can solve.
Yeah, we got to get through at least one of the puzzles.
Otherwise, we're just going to wander around looking at...
oohing and awing about our magnificent work.
Remember that time we made this?
Okay, this one surprised me. The blue... blobs.
Yeah.
How many people go, oh, I'm not walking into
they don't want to go through it.
It's almost, it seems like it's 90% of the people are going, I don't think I'll go through there.
But there's and we put it there for a reason. We wanted to make people walk through it.
Yeah, I watched a playthrough that was really satisfying where the guy finally went through and said, I wonder what that's there for. And then when he went through and solved a few puzzles, he realized, there's a narrative of why that's there. That is actually in the position it is for a very particular reason.
I think we used to have a more aggressive post-process effect on there. I remember it used to like blot your whole screen out blue. I wonder if that broke.
Too.
Huh.
Yeah.
Josh log a bug.
Now we got red beams and blue beams.
Yep.
Which is cool.
And we got this guy in here.
Yep.
We should mention that we don't have game audio right now, so otherwise we'd probably sit and listen to the speech. But
this crazy guy in here, which also follows our live action, but still in 3D. And this was probably one of the hardest ones to pull off.
This was tough.
Yeah, because this isn't just on a screen or in an imager. This is a guy behind a window.
Yeah.
Hey, it's my brother.
What's up, Robin? Yeah, this was tough because we wanted to give the feeling that you were in the same space with him, but we had all of these limitations.
Yeah.
And this, I realize we're talking over the speech, but too bad. This is one of the things that I think is we get the most pushback from people, and it's the thing that frustrates me the most.
Yeah.
They're like, why'd you put that guy behind a door? Why don't you, or another version of that same comment, hey, why did you guys not do, video for VR Myst? I want to sit across the desk from Atris.
Right.
Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
Because, how do you solve that?
Yeah.
How do you solve for moving your head, free control of your head?
Nope.
And I get people all the time who like armchair game devs, oh man, they cheated this. They should have done it the right way. It's like, that is such a hard problem.
Yeah. This is, again, we had the advantage of knowing ahead of time what we were going to do, so we designed with those constraints in mind.
But I would say it was still a challenge to get this. And
I remember the lighting even in here.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, you put an extra light in. It was like, wait, you did something. That's great. I mean, finally got some things that
even looking at it
good.
now, I'm like, I can look at it and immediately be like, oh, ooh.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it
Yeah.
works. He's gonna go away and close his little door.
And you'll hear workshop sounds.
Tink, tink, tink. Yeah.
He's hammering in there, hammering on things,
Right.
making
I
things.
think. Well, before I go up there, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
wander around here. I think we
good.
can solve this puzzle. So we got this like waterfall that's
You got to
not
connect the
going.
dots here.
Yep. You're like, wait, that looks like. Oh, and it even says the waterfall.
In
You're
case
like,
you didn't
what?
notice, again, a message from the mayor that's wrong.
Yeah.
The water supplies everything and it runs. Like, no, there's no waterfall here.
This was fun to do. Getting the river to have different effects and stuff. was
Oh,
fun
it
to
looks
do.
so good.
So we got I love this bridge.
Yep.
I love the design of it. I love the concept of it.
I love the fact that there's a propeller attached to it. Everything was scrounged here.
Yeah.
And in most cases, we know where it comes from, even. Like, we have a story behind where it came from.
Yep. And in some cases, we even extrapolate on that story.
Yeah.
Like the plane propeller made no sense until later.
Yep.
Like,
Where we could
oh,
fill in
yeah.
some of that narrative.
All right. So let's get the river going here.
You know, okay, one other thing I want to do is
Yeah.
if you could go. Oh, no, that you can't get in there. Never mind. Yeah.
Oh, we can
we'll
load.
just
We can load a save game.
Yeah, let's just get again, gameplay, follow the dots. By the way, that guy told you to get the power going, and if you look at the power lines, this is all very meticulously laid out. Those power lines lead almost right across where that water flows under that weird propeller gate thing, and so it's all supposed to make you do what Eric just did. You kind of go look at it and go, well, the waterfall's not flowing. This gate seems to be something with the water. The power's over there. Okay, I'll follow this back and see where it goes.
The water Vader. This was a holdover puzzle from Uru, or was it Riven? I know you and
This was a really old
you and Rawa
Riven.
talked about reviving this one.
Yeah, and it ended up being different than what we had planned for Riven, but yeah, and that was such an early Riven puzzle. I don't even know if it. It's funny. I'll have to talk to my brother and see if he remembers that one from the early Riven design.
I love this one because, we just, it's an elevator. Okay, and your brain just logs, there's an elevator here.
Yeah.
But then when you come over here and you change the way this is operating.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I like the view here on the right
yeah.
too. You can follow you. Oh yeah, gate. Oh, there's where I was.
Mm-hmm.
There's where I was. There's the gate. There's the power wires going right over top. Oh, okay.
The game design loves these views. You know what doesn't love these views? The production art team. No, it ended up being fine, but oh man, there were some weeks where we were like, how are we ever going to get this to run at the frame rate we need it to, especially for VR? And
Yeah.
thank God we have awesome people who made it happen. But the sight lines were no joke.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You guys would build walls a little higher in some places so you could at least hide some things.
Yeah.
This is awesome. That whole flow thing that you guys implemented, the water flow thing, you could just paint in that you
Yep.
did the
Flow mapping is the thing. Yeah, we stored the information
You did
in
the video on
in
that
the
one.
Yep. Talked a little bit about that at GDC, but like that was fun to figure out. That was fun to figure
It's so effective. Love it.
out.
Oh, but wait, the water's not turning the water wheel
Yeah.
anymore.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
And like, you go down the elevator and you don't really think about it. It's when you come back and you're like, oh, I want to get back up there.
Yeah.
You can't.
Nope.
And that's one of my favorite gags. And because it makes perfect logical sense when
Yeah.
you look and see how it operates.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right.
So we can. Another one of the big reveals is what you're about to do that always seems so intriguing to me, which is, okay, make you work to do this. We're going to make you figure this out. The first puzzle, you get the waterfall going. You know you're onto something. It feels really good. This is one of those very satisfying elements where when you do it, you know you're about to get something.
I got to come look at the waterfall. It's been a while since I've looked at the waterfall.
Nice.
All right. I like that waterfall. It works.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
And
So
like,
this bridge, this is one I love watching people try and solve.
Yeah.
I know how to solve it, but
you remember how we had to put the handle on here? Like, you can't just do it with a propeller because people don't know you're supposed to grab a propeller. You got to put something that gives them the clue that they're supposed to.
Oh yeah, this little knurled texture, which is like, you know, it's the grip pattern you see on like screwdrivers or crowbars. That's what I ended up putting on there, and we ended up using it in several places because it's just such a good gamified sort of indication of like this is meant to be grabbed.
Subtle little clues that I don't know how many of those we'd watch people play, and then we'd go, okay, we gotta tune that up a little.
Because I think originally it was you were just grabbing the propeller. And it didn't make any sense.
No, nobody did it. Right.
And it's fun watching people, like, I love the visual design of this machine because
all the linkage.
People, I've seen people playing this and being like, well, first they'll comment like, wait a minute, I think that's from a car. I recognize that. And I was like, yep. But they'll look at the bridge, they'll look at the clamp up there and understand like, oh, that's preventing it from turning this way.
Yeah.
It's like, I love how it sort of explains itself if you look close enough.
Yep. Definitely explains itself. All of it works.
We had to like cut out the slot for that to go in. I remember we labored over like, how can we give a clue that it turns? And you were like, let's put scrape marks on the.
It looks so good.
Ended up working.
I love it.
And then this bridge, you know, now that you've connected it this way, you just cut off your connection to the other side. I love because when you and I remember you and Rawa trying to explain this to us.
Right. Early on.
But man, I love the mechanism of it. All right, we're on the backside now.
Which, by the way, always felt like such a reward. I grew up in New Mexico, and we used to call places. This is called the Bosque. That's how Rawa and I referred to it because I grew up where, if you're in the desert and there's little green areas by rivers or streams, and we called them the bosques. So
yeah, I mean it's a real word. It's a
yeah. I mean there's a few things in New Mexico that I never know if, like arroyo and bosque, things that I don't know if everyone knows. But this just was so pleasant to get in here, and
it feels tonally really different from the rest of Hunrath, which is nice. Then you come across this. I love this thing.
Oh. Yes, love this. I love everything about this thing because it has so much meaning, so much foreshadowing of where things are going and what's going on, but you can't really understand it until you get so much more into things. And then and
you got the train yard just sitting in the middle. Another big. This is, I think, one of our largest sphere chops in the game.
Yeah. So good. Oh my gosh. So many spheres, so little time. Okay, so this is a puzzle that's coming up that also felt like fairly obvious. If you look at the power lines, the thing CW told you was, okay, you got to get things going. You follow those power lines, they come to a diesel engine. And the diesel engine won't start. It must need fuel, so you follow the fuel lines. Everything's linked in really appropriate ways.
The transformer thing.
Oh, yeah. And the fuel lines the power lines go to this big transformer thing, which has a distribution thing. And the fuel lines go to what else would they go to but a gas station? Perfect. It's all there. It's all there laid out for you.
They had everything they need.
This crank always was a little weird to me. This one always felt like, let's just put a crank on it. I don't.
Yeah, I completely blocked this out of my memory. The giant knob on the front of the.
Right. I always thought we'd get back to that, and then by the time we shipped the game, I'd forgotten all about it and didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And when I look at it now, it's like, oh yeah, we probably could have done something else.
You just get used to. I'm looking at that, going like, wow, we shipped that. Okay. Game development, everybody. Yeah. No, I love the train yard. This is. I don't know.
This whole building is another one of those just epic moments where the sphere chop looks so cool.
You go inside and it's just the front of this building.
Exactly.
The rest of it has been completely severed.
Man,
Yeah,
I love that. Look at that. It's just so cool.
Forget how big this game is.
This game is good.
Let's load up. I think I've got a save game on here that has more unlocked. Otherwise, we're just going to be bouncing off of puzzles. So.
Yeah. All right, we've solved a bunch of puzzles. We fast forwarded. We're not going to spoil. You have to solve those yourself. You better get in there and get started. It's going to take a few months of your precious time.
What was the average playtime in this game? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know. It is not meant to be. Again, everything in here has so much meaning. It's not meant to be a speed run, because if you take your time, like even look at that wall over there to the left. Like
this thing?
Crazy thing. Isn't that like the side of a train car or something? I don't remember.
Yeah. It's all parts from the. Let me see if we can find the tower. So that tower is designed after an actual passenger car from like the golden age of rail or whatever. It's actually, I think it's named after something in northern Idaho or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but because it traveled on the line that went right through through this area. But we put it up on its end and made it a tower, and I think bits of the wall like this. The idea was that they were salvaging other pieces of train. I guess presumably that train car came in with the sphere swap. I guess that's the. Yeah. It was like this beautiful passenger liner, and then a bunch of cargo cars.
Right.
But.
And then that red wire.
Very important red wire. Why is this wire red and all the other ones are black?
Oh, where's it coming from? Where's it going to? Oh well.
Must not.
Oh well. It's probably just and no meaning to it.
We're up above the house now, so you get these little vantage points that you didn't have earlier. And again, this is talking about sight lines. Oh my God, what a nightmare! Like let's let the player walk
see on both sides,
just unimpeded view.
Yeah. I remember how joyful you were when we went through the description of some of that design.
We learned a lot about how to make things optimal.
You guys did amazing, because I mean, we were just learning the engine, and early stuff was so slow.
Oh yeah.
And man, you guys did like miraculous work to
learned some hard lessons.
Keep so much of that sight line that we didn't have to give up.
I think we learned about draw calls. I was going to get to this is swamp. I was going to get to chain. Actually, you know what I want to talk about real quick? I want to talk about the dome.
Oh,
this was something. So early on the sphere swaps came early. I think that's something I brought in super early.
Yeah.
But you and Rawa came back with like, what if?
Yeah.
What if when you get to the dome, and this wasn't even at all on the radar, and I remember you having to explain it to us how the polar coordinate, and then we had to stop and think about what that would look like from the point of view, and I don't even think we technically got it right, because I think technically the image would be inverted like a lens, and we had to cheat some stuff.
Yeah.
But the idea of like, if you move left, then what you see it's not going to be like real life where there's parallax. It's going to be inverted parallax.
Right.
Yep.
It's so weird.
So you move to the left and the image goes to the right, and it seems like a bug at first.
And it's not just a flat plane. It's if you go down on the sphere, it goes up on the other side. I mean, all that stuff is really crazy interesting. Oh, and the flash of light on the other side too, that shows where you came from. By the way, okay, this is a spoiler alert.
Over
obviously,
there,
if you're watching this, I hope you understand you're going to get spoilers.
Oh yeah,
but
a little late for that.
Yeah, when you find the when you first get to the outside of the world, here's this Arizona desert inside this alien landscape. You get to that the delimiter between the two, and you can't go through. Nothing happens, and so you think at some point maybe you can get down, you can get through to the alien world, but in fact, what happens is you just get to other parts of the same world, and there's journals that describe some things about it that are kind of fun.
At the time, I remember being like, well, okay, that's a whole bunch of technical problems we don't need right now, but we worked through them. Now I love it because what it gave us the ability to do is have these really constrained maps that almost open up in non-intuitive ways.
Right.
You actually have to sit down and think about, and I think every world there is a map that shows,
Oh, yeah.
so the players can sort of logic which path connects to what.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Now I just love it.
Yeah.
So I think we're coming up on the chain entry here.
Yeah, that folding back on itself that wasn't always available. Suddenly, when you open up, you get there's a few puzzles in here that have this great aha experience that I just live for.
Yeah.
And most of them have to do with the swapping and the dome and wait, what if piece of my world went to this new place, which is about what we're about to experience, okay? We're in this desert world. Oh, by the way, Eric, that effect going out to actually delineate the sphere.
Oh, the little glow. Wow. Yeah.
So good.
Yep.
And then what happens on the other side to kind of end that whole process? So good. You go through all the particles.
I remember when we were doing the end game stuff for this, spoiler alert, how fun it was to be thinking about taking the normal teleportation effect and supersize it, and how, I remember when we hit upon what the end of the game was, and you guys were figuring out, like, oh, what if it's all about taking the worlds and realigning them? And
so you couldn't really see it there, but there's little particles that were
there.
Oh, they're there. Yeah, right on the edge of that sphere.
And they sort of drift and fade over time.
Yeah, and again, spoiler alert, and this is a big one and such a fun reveal, but you see that chunk of desert came with us to this whole new world. And one of the things that finally hits you as a player is, well, wait, where is the chunk of this world? And that when that hits players,
there's a specific puzzle. It's actually in this. It's in this world. There's a specific puzzle where we force the player to consider that, and that's one of those streaming moments when I always I want to see what happens when they.
I know it's one of my favorite moments when you see this little bit of enlightenment, like, oh wait, it's like this layered revelation that works so well. So here we are in another world, and
forget what I got to do here.
These worlds are so wonderful because they have such a distinct, oh man,
the mood of each one is very
very environmental mood and narrative history to them. And this one in particular, I think, was your idea of doing much more vertical.
Yeah, that was the intent of this age, was all about verticality. It was like, instead of doing like, there's one of them bugs looking at me. Instead of doing a big flat, like Hunrath is very, it's a desert, and we have ups and downs, but the intent here was to make these sheer cliffs, and this was an idea that I think this concept for this age actually came about as a Myst age back during the previous games. And being able to repurpose it for Obduction was awesome. And then you start to see these big chains up above you.
That was the seed, I think, for this world. And I think that was your idea. It was like this chain going off into the mist, off into the clouds, and you weren't sure where it was going.
The inspiration for this age was there's a stock photo I've got somewhere of like big like giant anchor chains from a big Iron Age boat thing, not Iron Age, but like a old maritime boat, and it's almost rusted through. And it was like the inspiration is just these. What I used to say, it's like, I want you to get tetanus just looking at this, just looking at this age, mixed with all this ancient temple type stuff. And the team did such a good job.
This was so fun because so granted, we just came from Hunrath, which was part of the Arizona desert, and it had elements of another world on the outside of the sphere. But this, once we come here to Chain, what's the official name of this?
Kaptar,
that's it. Oh my gosh.
Can't believe I'm the one who remembered that.
6 years.
Yeah.
Oh my.
It'll forever be Chain in my mind.
And we had to develop a culture and history to an entirely new place. And rather than make it kind of just single-minded cultural, only one kind of people were here, we decided to.
It's always the combination of those cultures which is the most interesting
right.
stuff.
And so we did that. It's not just one. There was conflict, and they're very different forms of people, and maybe somebody abusing one person, and none of that is important other than it kind of helps us build the world in a very realistic way. It also makes it very eclectic, where you'll come across something that doesn't seem to fit. Like, what is this big chain? And by the way, what are those bugs?
Right.
And why are they both in the same place? And all of that was part of this rich history that this place has that is just fun to... when you're doing world building.
It was nice to have the grist for the mill, like even if it doesn't mean anything, even if you don't expound on it, putting some thought into it, making it feel cohesive.
That to me is so important. We spend a lot of time on that on all of our games. I don't know how much time everybody spends on that, but those are the little things in games and movies and books where you can tell that there's a cohesive background that, even if you don't know it, that ties the foreground together. You know, that started honestly with Myst when we wrote that opening statement about, you know, I don't know what happened to my book when it fell down, and whose hands it might have gotten in, and the ending might not be written. I mean, that was all part of a backstory that was starting to be fed into that the worlds of Myst, the ages of Myst, that works so well. You kind of learn as you go. I mean, that's inspired by Tolkien, you know. I mean, if anybody...
Oh, he's already got the I was going to go talk about this puzzle box, but it's up in the air now because of the puzzle's been solved.
Okay, we have to stop and look at this space, because this was... look at that.
Love this thing.
Okay, when we were designing this, though, we knew that in VR, this was going to feel spectacular. It was going to feel so large. And VR gives you that sense of presence in this space.
It was this position right here, which this entire experience was sort of like built around, because we wanted... Another thing we would always say was, you know, we want it to feel like the player's not going to die, but at the same time in VR, you don't the whole world is like a giant OSHA violation. Like, it shouldn't. You shouldn't feel safe here. You shouldn't feel like, you know, you can keep your arms and legs within the vehicle. It's been a while since I've put on the VR headset and stood here, but like, this is one of my favorite moments.
Oh yeah,
with the sound kicking in.
Absolutely, the sounds in this whole world were so much fun to do. Hannah did some of them. I did some of them. I remember one of the ones we used in a few different places was she took a large big chain to a playground and dragged it across
like the monkey bars or something. Yeah.
And then we toned it down, and I layered so much stuff, so many sounds together on all these things, on elevators. It was I had so much fun doing that. Looking down at all that, getting that all working when you first get it working, so cool. By the way, okay, I have to say this too. This is a little known fact. The inspiration for this whole puzzle, do you know where this comes from?
No.
When I was growing up in East Texas, it was the East Texas oil fields. And
like with oil derricks out in the...
Back in the day, they would build those oil derricks. And this, before they had a way to individually power those derricks, they would have a house in the middle of the woods that was, I guess, powered by natural gas or oil or whatever, and it would run a giant camshaft like that.
Oh yeah.
And those pipes would go through the woods in every direction to oil derricks everywhere.
I do remember that, because I remember us having long conversations, so the production team had to figure out how to get this to work, right? The idea was it was transferring power not by electricity, but by linear motion.
Purely mechanical linear motion.
Not rotational motion, but like rotational motion that's then converted to linear motion.
Right.
And so we had to figure out, like, how can we build a modular set of you know, these spurs, and we called these magic boxes because we didn't want to have to show how they, you know, converted power, but like we worked it all out. Like mechanically, they actually work.
I remember you guys did so much work on that, which is really cool. Anyway, yeah, it was a weird experience in East Texas, seeing those things going all through the woods.
Oh, yeah.
For I don't know how. I always thought it was miles.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me. And it was like, oh, that would be a great one to draw on. So we made a bigger version of it.
I'm gonna go up the stairs here. I think it'll be sideways, but I think we can actually we can look at this.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
You want to talk about this?
Let's talk about this. So, let's talk about you people who gripe about this, because I'm gonna push back a little here.
Here we go.
Here's what you did. If you came to this and you think we did something wrong, you came to this puzzle in a game that you know is a Myst type game that we give you clues and we kind of help you solve your puzzles. You came to this box that we put so many knobs and switches and buttons on that, and it's in Russian, by the way, as well.
Well, and many things are unlabeled.
Unlabeled, scratched off. It's like, and you think that, oh, I just need to turn some of these and push some of these buttons, and then I'll probably get this solved. And if you spent more than a few minutes on this, just because it's kind of fun to play with, like a busy box, if you spent more trying to solve it, then it's on you, not on us, because at the very least, you should have said, well, somewhere I'll find a clue on how to use this box. I can't see
the back of it, but on the back, if I'm not mistaken, there's some writing.
Oh, there's some writing. Rawa looked all this up and translated it.
Do you want to tell us what the writing?
I think it says it's basically Russian for boondoggle.
Like, you'll waste your time.
Yeah. This is nothing.
People got like legit mad over this.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
real
it's
mad.
on them, because now they have to admit that they sat there and switched buttons and turned knobs forever, thinking they were just going to stumble on the solution to that.
Send your comments and questions to randmiller@obduction.gov.
Purely Rawa and I who did that. And by the way, I'm still saying that the Maze Runner and Myst in Selenetic is one of my favorite puzzles too. It's probably the same people.
Stand by that.
Like, we'll give you clues.
You know,
if we don't give you clues,
I'll defend you over the Selenetic one, because you gave them clues to solve that one. This one.
All right, this one. We thought they would look for a clue, and then we thought, oh, by the way, it's really appropriate what happens to that box too. I mean, in the end.
Yeah.
You think you're going to solve it, and like in the end, you kind of
rub the player's face in it.
Yeah. You solve it not the way you expected.
Yeah. I love this. I love the backstory
about
what these things are, and you know.
Yep. Oh, so good. Going into the Myst and not knowing what's ahead that's just, again, it's one of those reveals. We talk about reveals all the time. So much fun. Here, this is a good shot of, not only is this world have all this detail in it from the histories behind it, but then look behind you.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. This is another one of those worlds within a world.
And if you're the first time you come here, you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like a desert or the pine forest that I was in at the beginning of the game.
Right. Exactly. So hopefully you start realizing, wait, there's something more here.
I forgot all about the flocks of birds in here. Totally forgot.
Oh, man, that detail's so cool. If only we could go to that world.
If only.
So much fun detail in here.
Yeah, I'm still pretty pleased with the fidelity of like the way the sunlight was able to filter through the big trees and stuff. Some of this is, just kind of happens as you build a space. As you're in the engine moving stuff around, you're like, oh, that's kind of nice to get some dappled sunlight in there.
Yeah. And the artist did such a good job. The way we design here is not, especially in Obduction, Rawa and I didn't do graphic design on this. We did game design on this.
Yeah, it was maps.
And we handed it to you and Derek. Derek did some graphic design, but also there was some freedom on the for the artists to kind of add their
especially on this project, the
attention to detail.
The ideal situation is to have artists who can sort of generalist approach an area and build it all out and kind of capture the spirit of it. And so we had one artist who did kind of all of the metal industrial stuff, so it's real cohesive. We had a different artist do sort of the ancient temple stuff,
right.
And that was true of all of the different areas, and having somebody to sort of own that and tell their own story, even invent their own story, is super, super useful.
Yeah, this was one that we blew past this, but we also filled in the same way Hunrath has some chunks of other parts of the world in it. We put some random chunks of the other part of the world in this one too to kind of keep the story consistent. And they're very different, and they have their own kind of feel to them, but they're it's so satisfying and interesting.
Puzzle design, because you guys came to us almost with like the logistical, here's how everything connects.
Yeah. Because
of the nature of the central gag, the swap spheres.
Right.
Being able to do things like this, where we find this sphere here. Should I take this? This is Farley's vault.
Sure.
So the idea of you're in one world, and you're in sort of this back corner, and you find this little like seed machine, and obviously I don't think it was set up this way from the beginning, but this is a solid state. Being able to draw gateways between the three different worlds,
right?
Because of the rules of the world, they have to be physically in exactly the same spot.
I don't think people realize that. Oh, say that again.
Okay, so the three worlds are perfectly overlaid on top of each other. Well, the four worlds.
Yeah.
They're perfectly overlaid on top of each other. And so it actually leans into one of the benefits of working in real-time 3D is that we build worlds in 3D space around an origin, and so if we want to see how one sphere aligns to another world, we can just import it into a different scene and it lines it perfectly and build around it.
Yeah.
So the sphere that we just traveled in came from the Chain Age, but you can tell it perfectly slots into the cave here.
Right.
And now we're underneath Farley's house in her secret vault. That is where she keeps all of her most precious backer reward items. This is where we ended up putting a lot of the Kickstarter backer rewards down here because it was sort of this warehouse feel.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the secrets.
We had a good reason to have all kinds of eclectic stuff, and it worked out well. The
Ark of the Covenant.
I'm gonna double down on the swap. Don't open that thing; it'll melt your face. On that swapping and keeping that consistent, where if it was in one 3D space in one world, it had to be in exactly the same 3D space in the other world.
Yes.
And keeping that perfectly consistent
and we were
so much fun.
We didn't fake it either.
No.
I mean, obviously it's a video game, the whole thing's faked, but like we really did maintain that.
Yeah.
And we labored to make sure that things lined up perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, when Rawa and I drew those crazy, pencil maps on the giant paper, it was fun for us too, because we're lining those up. We didn't have to be as exact as you guys did, but you guys actually carried it to the next level. And it's like, no.
Yeah, we had to shore up inconsistencies between the paper maps.
It's exactly the same height and in exactly the same.
Would you like to talk about this door? This is an homage.
Oh yeah.
To
anybody who's played Riven should know exactly what this door is. Look at that. You open the door when you know the secret combo. You find out what the combo is. You open this door, and you get into the cool. By the way, the cool Farley's house. But you find out as a community center. But what did we do? We covered the other entry.
Classic.
And the cool part about this is, you'll stumble on that, and you can stumble on it the way you did, coming through another swap machine. If you don't find that door, you can find the back way.
Yeah, I mean, because if players who get in here the first time and go down here, they actually can't get into the vault. It's plugged because the other, with the sphere swapping, the other chunk of rock is jammed in there.
Right, so. And we use that a lot too, where a giant chunk of rock comes in and obscures your access.
Favorite gag. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let me see if I can get to...
See if the garage is open real quick.
It should be.
I'll just talk about it. Because then we need to go there. There's a crazy numbering system that we invented for this, for Obduction, for one of the alien races. Based on these, little circle blob things. And
why are they called the villain? The villain.
Rawa came up with that.
Okay.
And we were trying to paint a picture. Well, we were, like all good whodunits and mysteries, you're not quite sure who the good guys and bad guys are. And villain sounds like villain, but also I think Rawa said, it's rooted in French for gardener, and And so it worked perfectly. You weren't sure whether, if you dig a little deeper.
513.
There you go. So we knew we wanted a numbering system, and we wanted it very alien. So we went really alien, connecting these blobs to make the numbers. And it was so much fun. One of the regrets, and I know we hear this from players, is that we didn't really use this as much on the bridges when we finally get. We can go there and show you.
I remember the early designs were. Oh my gosh! It would have been outrageous to expect people to decode.
We had to pull back. We had to pull back because we started using these.
But that's a fair critique. Yeah,
we started using it's. We used them. We overused them, and then we pulled back because we needed to at least let people get through the world. And we probably could have made them a little more sophisticated than we did.
I'm actually gonna just for time. I'm gonna cheat it, and we're gonna load. A Maray save real quick. All right, so we loaded up a save from the Swamp Age. What's this age? Maray, I guess.
Maray,
yeah.
Yes.
The Swamp Age. Here's one of those maps. I just wanted to look at this real quick. Talk about, because we show these in every age, and they're meant to be almost childlike in nature, right? They're meant to be very simplistic.
But they were here for a reason.
Yeah.
And not only to give you where you are here, but also to show that, and even the talk that's going on now is like, wait, what? People were coming here for a reason. They're supposed to go from here to here. What is this? But also, at the same time, guess what? You get to find out where you are.
Yep.
And what else is here.
And, putting these in with the clearly delineated circle, very intentional because we were trying to, again, give people an indication of where those paths connect and how they loop around. So
if you look at it again, I guarantee you, most people never looked at that and thought, if I go on this side, it connects to this side.
Yep.
But it's right there.
Yep.
It's right there.
Yep.
Yeah. It's very cool. And
so here's some
by the way,
bridges.
this world is so much fun.
This is the one that I get lost in very easily.
Yeah, I do too. I
don't think much of this is solved. I think we're right near.
Yeah, but we get a taste of it.
Yeah. So this is the entry point.
We at least get to look out, and this one was meant again to be really different aesthetically. And you guys did such an amazing job because we were like, this should be like a jungle. It should be amazing and dense, and that's easy. Just millions of leaves on trees. Let's just do that. That's perfect.
That was the challenge here.
And on top of that, it's got the eclectic nature of this cool jungle world with crazy advanced equipment that really contrasts with Kaptar, which is the old chains and stuff.
Yeah.
This is the one that feels both jungly and sci-fi-y.
So this, if I remember correctly, I think this is one that I can solve. This was another one where we were like, okay, well, they literally just got here and they can't really go very far. They kind of just get stopped.
Yeah.
But again, talking about swapping from one age to the other, I think if I were to take this was always meant to be a fairly straightforward puzzle where we kind of hand feed you the answer right away. So this should swap into Hunrath, where earlier, if you were perceptive, you saw a big stone arch.
Right.
Which, hopefully by this point in the game, players are starting to grok the idea of every sphere swap represents two sides.
Now, you just took a chunk of Maray with you back to Hunrath, that sphere, but what was here was an arch going across, so if you go back there...
And this here used to be a sphere of green swampy stuff,
right?
And that's gone now. Now it looks like it belongs. It's desert. This is one of the few sphere swaps where we have a machine on both sides.
Yeah.
Because we wanted players to get the experience of swapping this.
Yeah.
They come back, 20 feet or whatever, retrace their footsteps.
And I have to say, by the way, there's an intricate story that goes through all this. We're just kind of playing through the puzzle and the art and stuff, but there's a reason these swaps are here, and there's a reason that tree you see what that tree was and why these giant places came and why these pieces of equipment are kludged together and experimented with and what, for the various technologies from different worlds. So yes, that worked like a charm there.
Now I should come.
Supposedly.
Oh, where did I'm lost already? I got to go back to this way. And here we go. Now we got this big chunk of rock which came from Hunrath. That is a nice, handy dandy bridge.
To give us a bridge across there. Oh, this feels so cool in here. And by the way, there's again some signposting with the red beam that kind of let you know you got to go that direction.
And here we can start to see some of the more sci-fi. This is about as sci-fi as we get in this game.
Yeah.
Even though, ostensibly the whole game is sci-fi, but we really wanted these buildings to read as alien technology specifically.
Yeah. That juxtaposition is, I just love it. It really works.
This is still one of my favorite. These alien buildings, the shells on this is still this was one of my favorite things to try to solve. Is the idea of it? It sort of reads almost like concrete, but it's inspired more by bone, animal bones. The pockmark texture, and figuring out how we could, put that on these surfaces and then vertex paint it in wherever we wanted, and it was really fun.
Man, it works good. It works so well.
More giant views.
Yeah, and creatures. There's lots of birds flying around. It's
we did a minimal little bit of creature work in this game. We've got birds, we've got bugs.
Okay, and I know we go long here because I get excited about it all. There's more. You haven't seen. We've touched on stuff here.
Oh, yeah,
you guys should actually play it. But the crazy thing is how much we pulled off. I think about this often, by the way. How much we pulled off with a small team and a small budget. And I know if you're a Kickstarter, you're thinking possibly we had a giant budget. And, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is a freaking miracle that this was pulled off.
With a team who'd never used Unreal before.
Gosh. This much detail. VR.
Yeah.
We did VR before there were VR headsets. We didn't even know. We didn't have a target.
Don't quote me on this. I think we were one of the very first full games that was a VR, not just a VR experience, but like a VR game, full fatty game that you could play completely in VR.
Yeah.
If not, we were in that first wave anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the very first one because there was lots of good developers.
Right. There was a lot of cool demos and shorter experiences that were coming out that I don't want to take away from, but we did our whole game in VR.
And it was a challenge.
Yeah.
But and the thing that we don't even do this anymore, what I'm about to say, but this game, you could actually play it in 2D just like we are now. If we had a VR headset hooked up and we threw it on literally standing here, it wouldn't. You don't have to relaunch the game.
Right.
It would literally you're in VR, standing right where you are. You could drop in and out of VR seamlessly.
Oh, I remember fighting with that. Oh, yeah. Trying to get that work smoothly and
there's a reason we don't.
Satisfying.
There's a reason we don't do it anymore. Because that's tough. But I'm just to emphasize what you're saying. I am so proud of the team and what we were able to accomplish in a relatively short amount of time. On not the budget that it really required. We were too dumb to know any better.
That's how things get done.
Yeah, I agree. I say it all the time. If I could trade, a handful of experience for at least some of that naivete that we all used to have, oh man.
I have plenty of it. That's my saving grace. I'm just an idiot.
That's your superpower. This is great.
But yes, and look, I'm not a salesman. Anybody who knows me knows I'm not a salesman, but this feels like you get so much for your money for this game, Obduction. When people go through and play it, when I watch Twitch streamers, when I go back into it, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I forget how big it is.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And we're trying to do big stuff now, but at the same time, looking at a completed big thing, I look at it, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Man, I remember this. It always used to be this hard.
Man, oh man. One more thing here. In this world, there's and I don't know if we can get to where it is here. It's on the little imager devices where the mayor comes up. Is there one? There's not one right here.
There's one right here.
Is there?
Yeah. There it was. This was powered. What do I need to do?
I don't know.
Oh, I think I need to do this. I think it comes up as soon as you take out the...
Oh, that's right.
Oh, man, this thing has a lot of slop in it. There we go. This thing?
Yes. Okay, you notice the bottom, there are blobs that are morphing from one thing to another at the bottom really quickly.
Unexpected.
Huh.
Weird.
I wonder what that would be.
Huh.
I wonder what numbers those
nothing.
would be in there. It's probably nothing, because
Probably nothing.
we don't really like to have attention to detail in most of our games or put little things in. Oh, look at that. There's two things.
Maybe just
now
a
going
mistake
up.
that slipped in.
Yeah. Probably just random. Never mind.
Never mind.
Anyway, you know, this game's worth your money, and there may be a few.
Game's been out for
hidden
6
things
years,
even.
people. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Let's figure out some of the. We still have a few tricks in this game that people haven't found.
I've not played this in a while, and I'm
Yeah.
happy memories. This is
Yeah.
filling me with pride for the team.
It should.
Holy crap.
This is mind-blowingly cool. There's tunnels you go through in here, still blow my mind. Going down, this stuff, the effect you did, even with the
refractive thing.
refractive wave stuff, and then the bridges when they form and unform.
That's
just so
that's
cool.
what you get when you're learning Unreal and you want to do the same effects everybody else does.
It's
is you,
just
you do
good
those
stuff, man.
No, they still hold up. They still hold up.
And you can even go down to the stream here at the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just really cool.
This one
Great
was
job.
this age was rough because of all the foliage. But honestly, looking at it with fresh eyes right now, I'm like, yeah, you know what, it worked out. It's okay.
Oh, it worked out. Yeah, go get it now. Go get it. All right, we got to stop playing because, in case you couldn't tell, Eric and I could wax poetically about this.
I kind of just want to sit and play this for the rest of the day.
I know. But we have other worlds to build.
Yeah,
So.
there's work to be done.
Yeah.
This was fun, though. This was, no joke. It is really, really, really cool to have not been in there for a while and jump back in. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, I like this game.
I know.
Good
Reveal a
memories.
few secrets, let people in on a few inside bits of information, and maybe, have them find a few more
That'd
things.
be cool. There's stuff to discover.
Maybe there is.
Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. As always, let us know if there's content you want to see, and we'll do our best to do more of these if you like it.
And we'll also, keep trying to make worlds for you.
Keep trying. So much to do. Bye.